Once a generation, the finest warriors must do battle to decide the fate of their realm.
Oh yeah, we never seen a Fate of the Worlds depending on a martial arts tournament movie before. May I add, a rigged martial arts tournament. And is any of Earth's citizens really going to know about this tournament going on? For those Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge fans who think it's a shiny treasure or popcorn pleasure, or the gripers who say rubbish beyond measure, we, Duke and Amateur, have a couple hypes and gripes. If you disagree with us, or we left anything out, don't leave us off the hook.
The movie has a simple premise. Based on the 90s classic video game Mortal Kombat, the Elder Gods made a martial arts tournament to determine whether Outworld can have dominion over Earthrealm.
All right, Amateur. My first hype for Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge is we finally get another Mortal Kombat movie. I'm a big video game fan, and I always like hearing a video game get adapted into a movie. And while Mortal Kombat isn't my favorite fighter, it is one of the fighters I do play. And I'm glad it did get another movie. The last Mortal Kombat movie wasn't good. And let's see what our scores for this one is.
Well, the last Mortal Kombat movie was Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I believe. And that kind of annihilated the Mortal Kombat series in a certain way.
Especially since a lot of people were surprised how good the 1995 Mortal Kombat was, considering that movie came out after Street Fighter and Mario Brothers.
Recently, we have Sonic, which I thought was pretty decent or pretty good. Sorry, Sonic fans, it's not amazing. But you brought up video games. You know, me personally, I prefer Street Fighter over Mortal Kombat just because of the violence. Like, I was never a big fan of the violence in Mortal Kombat. I do like the original violence from Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, especially Mortal Kombat 2. But I feel like Mortal Kombat 11 gets a little bit too much. And I thought the violence in this movie was a gripe for me. I'm a big fan of movies like John Wick and The Raid. Those movies are pretty violent. But I think this movie, since it's animated, I thought the violence was a little bit too much at times and a little bit repetitive at times.
Well, with violence and Mortal Kombat, I don't have a problem with it. It's Mortal Kombat, and that's their brand. It's like going to I don't complain about it anymore. It's like going to a basketball game and being mad that they're playing basketball. Mortal Kombat is just violent. That's how it is. And it's not going to change.
Yeah, that's cool that they didn't really scale back on this movie. You're not going to see this movie on Disney Plus, that's for sure. I would say the most violent, I would say in terms of violence, yeah, it had some good humor violence, like Johnny Cage gets hit in the you-know-where from Sonya Blade. I thought that was kind of amusing and funny. It kind of brought me back a little bit to High School Girl, because the main character in High School Girl always gets hit by the so I don't want to be like political here, but he gets hit from other characters.
Right.
And Johnny Cage, I just thought it was pretty funny how he got hit repeatedly, and then like Liu Kang is kind of like blasé about it. Like he's kind of like, all right, Scorpion's right, let's just move on. And Johnny Cage is on the ground, holding what. And I thought that was a cool reference, cool Easter egg, because in the game, that's Johnny Cage's trademark move is he hits people in the ball. Sonya Blade has balls for hitting Johnny Cage in the balls. That's another hype I would say that's a hype for me, is that I did like the references this animated movie had, or the Easter eggs. Like, for example, that was a custom made shirt, and in that was a nice callback to the movie, the original 1995, when Johnny Cage's sunglasses gets hit by Goro, and he says, "Those were $2,000 sunglasses," curse word. And I thought that was kind of cool. A big reference to the game, whereas the breaking the boards thing in the animated movie, they're breaking steel or something with their bare hand, and in the game, or the original game, you had to press the B button really fast. Like you had to button mash just to break those boards. It was like an odd mini game.
Yeah, those
So
were some cool references.
yeah, I could go on all day about references and Easter eggs. I guess yeah, you got the "come over here" reference that was towards the end. You have the Scorpion fatality reference. There's other references and Easter eggs, but we're gonna move on to more hypes and gripes.
My other hype for this movie is it stayed on brand. It is Mortal Kombat, and instead of doing a PG-13 movie, it did a rated R movie. You brought up the violence that you're not a big fan of, but I do like that Mortal Kombat kept the violence, did the fatalities, did the X-rays.
Yeah, the X-rays. It reminded me of Fist of the North Star a bit, because like Kenshiro did a lot of the stuff in the '80s. I'm referring to the '80s Fist of the North Star. I know there's a game, Fist of the North Star: Lost Paradise. I haven't had the pleasure of playing that, but yeah, it did remind me of Fist of the North Star a bit. Like those. I love Fist of the North Star, so I don't want to sound like a hypocrite with violence. All right, yeah, it's cool that it does remind me of Fist of the North Star. And I had to say, yeah, it was entertaining. It was an entertaining, fast-paced movie.
Yes, it did it. It didn't slow down. It didn't bog us with story, with the deep thoughts. It came in, said, "Hey, this is a tournament, and we're fighting, and we're killing, and there's going to be lots of blood and guts."
But that's a gripe though for me, because I feel like if you're not a fan of Mortal Kombat, or you're not too familiar, if you're not too familiar with Mortal Kombat, the plot is very bare bones, very simplistic. There's really the quiet scenes I felt kind of disappointed me. There was like 2 or 3 quiet scenes, and they were all cliche, like Sonya's flashback montage of her trying to join in the army, Raiden's talk about revenge to Scorpion, that revenge is not good. Yeah, it was a little bit cliche, and the dialogue did not really stand out at all. I thought the dialogue was a bit lazy. It was the plot was very simplistic, which works like John Wick. John Wick's plot is very simple, but it's well structured. It's interesting. I thought the whole karate tournament, cliche thing, like, and why does it always have to be 10 years, like the number 10? It's always like, we've won 9 years in a row, and you got to get that nice round number 10. I just thought, even for Mortal Kombat fans, they could add a little bit more to the story. But yeah, I do like the angle on Scorpion, that it is called Scorpion's Revenge, so they did incorporate that plot in there. So if you're a Scorpion fan, I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're trying to do right by Scorpion. Recently, they've been shifting away from Liu Kang and going to Scorpion as the main character. And he did have more depth, but I agree with you. The dialogue was just terrible, like really amateurish. It was written by middle school kids. It's not that it didn't make sense. It was just lazy. Like they were just describing what they were doing, and
It's 80 minutes, so there's not that much exposition. Maybe 1 or 2 scenes of exposition. It sounded like it was like a check mark. Like, let's just get this exposition out of the way. I mean, talking about it on a boat, the original movie, 1995, had the same problem. Had the same exposition problem. Raiden's on a boat.
yeah.
The quiet scenes, though, in 1995, I did like a lot better. I did like how Liu Kang, his character flaw was he didn't believe in himself. I thought it was kind of like a callback to the Matrix with Neo.
And in Mortal Kombat Legends, Liu Kang's character flaw is just spelled out in one line of dialogue from Raiden, that he kind of judges others too quickly. I liked how in the 1995 film, the relationship of Liu Kang and his brother, how Liu Kang felt really bad letting his brother down, that he kind of felt responsible for what happened to his brother. And of course, that big payoff scene at the end of that movie was really kind of heart touching in a way, although it was kind of cheesy and average. But in this movie, yeah, Liu Kang is kind of on the sidelines. But maybe in the next movie, it's set up for him.
I wanted to bring up the opening scene because that's like a combo. It's like a hype gripe combo for me. I do appreciate the kinetic nature of the opening scene, but I just felt like it was a bit tropey. Like, who are these characters? Like, you have all these like 50, 100 characters just come out of nowhere, especially after the martial arts trope. The thing with the scorpion bit, like the will of the scorpion. I guess it kind of was a little bit like Enter the Dragon a bit. Like, it was just out of nowhere. Like, it's cool. Like, it's entertaining, but just like, what is going on? And then all his clansmen die. Scorpion's clansmen die, and I'm like, I don't really have any emotion or feeling for these people. You don't even see them. Like, he calls out to his master or something. There's no quiet scene like that. It kind of reminded me of the Sonic opening scene to Sonic. It was just like this rush of chaos happens. It was tropey. I thought it was tropey, but there was one thing that surprised me. But I'll let Duke talk for a bit.
Well, you didn't feel anything for the wife and son?
Well, there was no.
Yeah, it is. It gets right into the action. It doesn't hold us to give us the history of the clans and the rivalry with the rival clan. It just goes into it. Hey, we're starting this train and we're not stopping it. Let's fight. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, it was kinetic. It did hook me in, I admit. What surprised me the most, I mean, it's not, I don't know if it's like a spoiler or not really, because it is the opening scene, but I was shocked that they killed the kid. I was like, whoa. I thought that was kind of cool. And
that's the world of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's pretty, it could be pretty bleak, for sure. I really enjoyed the humor, especially with Johnny Cage. I really liked his humor a lot. So much that I might give it a higher than a hype. I'm kind of like debating if I should give it an I don't give a thumb, where you just can't give it a rating. It's I like the little things like the Tom Cruise reference, because Tom Cruise does his own stunts like Mission Impossible. I think the first thing I really enjoyed that stood out for me was when Johnny Cage's room is all messy and his girlfriend is leaving him, and then she says, "You know what, Johnny? Call me when you grow up." And then Johnny Cage says after she leaves, "Wow, I have a chance." She said, "Call me." I thought that was a perfect example of Johnny Cage's humor. So I give Johnny Cage a relative I don't give a thumb rating. It's not like the best humor, but I thought his humor was really needed in this movie because this movie is pretty dark.
Yeah, Johnny Cage is good, and without him, the movie would have been pretty bad, in my opinion. That it's all serious and dreary and no humor. So it was. I do appreciate that they have the Johnny Cage character to say the obvious things and to and his obliviousness is kind of funny.
It's a little bit like High Score Girl character being oblivious. Or I even I started to bring this up, but the Mark Lawrence movie, Black Knight, I think that came out in 2000 or something. He goes back in the Middle Ages and he thinks it's a real set, Martin Lawrence. That movie I wasn't really too fond of though. But that's a weird reference that I just brought up.
Right.
Sorry. But there was one big gripe though I have with the humor was, and I give it this part a segment of burnt popcorn. I just couldn't stand it when Johnny Cage was told to lay down and not fight, like from Sonya Blade. Like Sonya Blade's like, "Look, Johnny, just stay down, stay down." I have that just got me boiled.
What? I mean, it kind of makes sense in context because Sonya Blade is looking at Johnny Cage and she is thinking, this guy's just an actor. He doesn't even do his own stunts. So why is he just lay low and get out of the way?
I mean, for fans of Johnny Cage, of the video game, he does have the shadow kick move, right?
Right.
But how come that shadow kick move? It was not even shown in the movie at all. I mean, that's a cool move. I just didn't like the overtones, if you know what I mean. Like, all right, if it was just a regular citizen and Sonya Blade's telling him to stay down, all right. But this is Johnny Cage. He does have fighting abilities. All right, he doesn't do his own stunts supposedly, but he does know martial arts. And I thought it was a little bit too much overtone there. Hey, boo me all you want, whoever's listening to this. If you made it this far, great. But I thought it was a little bit too much there. That's just my opinion. No, what about no theme music? You don't have the theme music from the 1995 movie. You know, Mortal Kombat. You don't have that. I was missing. It seems like a trend with these movies that they don't like to have theme music from the older source material. Like they like to copy the plot lazily, but they don't like to have really cool music thrown in.
I don't know why we don't hear the classic Mortal Kombat song. It could be because of contract issues. Who knows?
Joking amateur, Gripe here. I'm just jumping into the conversation. I'm the third commentator, and I have a huge boiling one. I thought, spoiler alert, I thought it was so lame that Liu Kang doesn't even fight Goro. The way Goro died was so just ridiculous. It kind of reminded me of Bane from Dark Knight Rises, the way he died from Catwoman. That was just so ridiculous. I was looking forward to seeing Liu Kang fight Goro.
Look, I don't know why they did that, but yeah, it was kind of lame how that fight ended. But it's not Liu Kang's movie; it's Scorpion's movie.
That's true, Gripe. Yeah, Duke does bring up a good point, and Raiden does say that that Liu Kang's destiny was not to fight Goro; it was to fight Shao Kahn.
Yeah, Liu Kang's destiny to have a sequel movie for him. Sequel bait. That's his destiny. I paid $20 to get baited just to have a sequel movie instead of a standalone movie. Joking amateur, I bet you didn't pay $20 for this. You can see why I'm griping.
I hate to bring this up. I don't want to be like overtones here, but why do the black characters in the Mortal Kombat universe, especially in the movies, have to fight Goro first? In 1995, you had the character, he has to fight Goro. Liu Kang doesn't have to fight him. And then in this one, Jax is the one that has to fight Goro first. I don't know. I just thought it was an observation. That's all.
Well, in the first movie, hey, that was, I don't know why the black dude had to fight Goro, but hey, they chose him. But in this movie, it kind of makes sense because of Jax. One of Goro's moves is ripping off people's arms, and Jax is a character who has synthetic arms, so we just saw his origin.
All right, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
Okay, amateur. Now for our rating, I'm going to keep it simple. 3 out of 5. I like it enough. I probably will never watch it again, but I will see the sequel when it comes out.
As for my rating, is it shiny treasure, popcorn pleasure, or rubbish beyond measure? Well, it was entertaining. I did like the humor, the opening scene. While tropey was kinetic, it's definitely for Mortal Kombat fans. On the other hand, it's very tropey, as I said. It's cliche dialogue, lack of quiet scenes, violence is not really up my alley. It's a tough one. It's a popcorn pleasure. So is it 50% full or empty? I'm going to give it 50% empty. As I said earlier, it just needed some more character development and less cliches.
What I felt I was missing the most from this movie was Christopher Lambert's Raiden from 1995. I thought that character had a lot of charisma. And I thought also, 1995 movie just had better characters, in my opinion. But this was still a movie that hooked me in to be interested in the sequel for sure. So Take it easy, Mortal Kombat fans. But man, oh man, the violence in the animated movie was just brutal, because the one that was shown in the trailer, that violence is nothing. The movie is just like, whoa. I probably turned my pirate hat once or twice. Even the most rotten movies must have some thumbs up moments. I might take that back. And the freshest movies have some thumbs downs. Either way, I don't give a thumb. So like, comment, share, and subscribe, because my thumb is always up and down for hyping and griping. Have a thumbs up day.